Okay, it's Sunday, October 10th, I believe, 2022. And shout out to Norley, Itchy Boots. Welcome back to the channel. Wish I had 500,000 followers. What a wonderful thing watching her circumnavigate the world. If you haven't seen Itchy Boots, one of my 10 people that tune into what I say, outstanding. So I've done about 600 miles of fall touring on my two bikes in the background, Goldwing and the VFR 750. And when's the last time you've done a field repair of a tire? I've never done it until today. And I'm not even the field. I made it home okay. But I had a flat on the front on the VFR and found myself with a flat on the rear on the Goldwing. And I started asking myself, you should try to use a field repair kit and see what there is to learn. So here goes. So a quick survey of the kits that I've got in my Hondas and BMWs just basically shows me woefully ill-prepared for a real-world breakdown. First off, the tire I'm repairing today is on my Goldwing, and I don't have a field patch kit. I like the one that JP Cycles demonstrates on YouTube. They have a nice kit as far as the reaming part of creating a hole that will seal up cleanly. I'm not sure, what possesses BMW to use this shape. I'm sure there's a real intelligent rationale for it. The BMW tool is more like a sewing needle, and it worked, and I did get one in, but I tell you what, this 30-year-old container of rubber cement was fine, but ask me if it was as liquidy and liquidy as necessary to lube up that shaft to ream out the inside of that hole. I tell you what, I didn't get much done. And my first attempt at inserting a plug, it just basically tore because it was grabbing too much, I think. Now, full disclosure, I gave up trying because I couldn't work that tool through the tire, and I'm no flunky, but I just said, okay, I just want to patch the darn thing now that I've learned my lesson. This is not a particularly functional kit. Now, I bought 25-year-old bikes, so here's the stem that attaches to my valve stem and connects to a CO2 canister. Except that if you look down the bottom there, how do you puncture a hole in the CO2 canister with the needle broken off in the component that the previous owner supplied you? So when's the last time you inspected your repair kit? Mine is useless. And I guess that's what I want to communicate. Now, once I went to the office supply pile in the office and commandeered my handy-dandy rubber cement. When I did push it through with the BMW tool, it did pop off the hook. But when you look at the it's through the two pieces that are kind of clamped together, comme ça. So this gets shaved off with a razor blade, and then CO2 cartridge fills it up. But in my case, I'd be stranded at that point because the needles broke off. So here I am, stuck in the driveway in the prairie. I'll probably have a temporary fix here, but I'll use the air compressor to fill her up. Signing off. All right, so I've got the rear patched temporarily on the Goldwing. And as I mentioned in all my touring this last week, I managed to get a flat on my VFR. This is time of year when there's a lot of walnuts in the road, and I got my theories as to why this tire went flat, but I'll just say that I sprayed soap on the bead and ran the tread, and then filled it up to pressure a couple days ago and walked away. it is entirely flat today. And just a couple of observations. You know, when somebody like Itchy Boots travels all over the world and, you know, she packs very, very light on a 300cc, I think it's worth thinking about anything more than a local ride, like I've been doing of late, as to whether you got the basics for doing something with a flat tire. Because at least where I live, there are some places where I'm plenty far away from help. And just, you know, the basics of how do I, you know, get the plug in around the nail if I can't pull the nail out. I didn't have any tool to pull the nail. I guess I have a pliers, so maybe I did. I went for a needle nose in the kit, but I guess I do have a conventional pliers. Anyway, enough of this talk. So I've had this, I think maybe from my local Menards lumber yard, this inflator. I've been carrying it around, or maybe it's been sitting in a drawer in the shop more like, for a couple of years. And I figure I'm just going to try this on this tire to see what happens, and I'll replace it because it's, like I say, it's a couple of years old, and this is my experimentation with what works and what doesn't. So I got no pressure. I'm going to run the sealant in there, rotate the tire, and then let it sit and see if it holds, and wrap things up. Okay, so for lack of a tripod to actually show me spraying this in, it's pretty self-explanatory, but I gotta say, this house brand from my Menards lumber store, I would probably purchase another one of these based on the way it performed here. I feel like the volume of air or nitrogen or whatever fills the bottle is adequate to get the bike to a safe pressure. And while I didn't check it, I could tell that I had pretty close to fully inflated the tire. A quick note that when I've watched videos using CO2 cartridges on a big tire, like at the rear on a Goldwing, it took 2 cartridges to get it up to like 15 pounds for a safe roll. I got to get off and ride this bike slowly to make this patch material plug up uniformly, not give me a heavy spot on the tire. But I'll just, just make one further observation. I did some sharing of my bike with a guest, and he commented how my steering seemed kind of heavy, and I kind of blew it off. And in aviation we do pre-flights, and clearly I put this guy on a bike with a compromised front tire, and as soon as I got in, I went, holy crap, and inspected, and I've got some pretty nasty irregular wear. But I bring it up for this reason. This is a Z-rated tire. It's got a pretty stiff sidewall, but when you see your bike or you feel something that's different, like heavy steering, that's an indication. Stop and take the time to look at the thing. It might save you a crash. From Livingston on the Prairie, Southwest Wisconsin, I'll see you.